Savannah needs additional tourism. Savannah needs additional tourism.
I mean, I appreciate our tourism community. I appreciate our hoteliers in particular.
I continue my work in the community whenever I'm needed, or if I see something that I'm not pleased with, I take care of that as well. I make myself available to everyone, and I treat them like family, whether they're family or not. They are. And if people are making money, they can spend more time at home with their children. We have less crime.
That's right.
If we get people making better money. You got people struggling. Their children are trying to hustle on the street just so they could buy a pair of Jordans. Are you serious right now?
The following show and broadcast is a production of Better Savannah, an independent expenditure committee dedicated to better policy outcomes at the state and local level. The views, opinions, and statements made by the hosts and/or their guests do not necessarily reflect the views of Better Savannah.
Nice. What's up, John?
Hey, man.
I know. You're just making so you're getting everything shared.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody share it. Share the stream as much as you can. We're live for another episode. It's hard to believe, John. I keep saying this, but it's episode 60, my friend, of the Better Savannah podcast. And this is a great episode. This is I like that it's an even number. It's around end of 10. It's a culmination of these 5 interviews that we conducted over the last week and a half and rolled out the last week of the special election for House District 165 to fulfill the rest of the term left by Mickey Stevens. So really excited to roll out. We posted on the page a couple hours ago. Ads are going to start rolling out. We're endorsing Sabrina Kent. She was clearly, it was.
We explained why.
It's a very clear choice. I'm gonna get the scorecard up here.
Thank you.
So this is the basic scorecard. Vanessa, good evening. Julius, you're welcome to come on and comment. I sent you the link earlier. Jenny, what's going on? Appreciate you guys joining us.
Is this date night?
I know, right? It's almost it's like a regular occurrence. Oh man, that's funny. So John, we put together this little scorecard. We had limited time with some of the candidates, right? We had some limited time, and we didn't get to ask everybody everything. So there's a couple of NAs on there with the mayor and Antoine. Hopefully we get a chance to ask them that in the future on another forum perhaps. But with these interviews and what we were looking for was where was these candidates at on our local issues, and then the number one priority on the statewide kind of Democratic Party, which is Medicaid expansion. And so I just find it interesting. Again, there should be no surprise, John. The candidate, you guys look in the middle here, the candidate who passed every single one of these questions and areas is the candidate who got the endorsement. There were some fascinating parts of conversations with the other candidates, John, but she was the first to respond to us in terms of getting an interview scheduled, John. She was the first to respond to us. She was the longest interview.
I got to push back. I mean,
I hear you. I'm just saying, she was the longest interview. She gave us the most time. She gave the most in-depth answers, and she agreed with. I mean, literally, when we went back through, the casino gambling issue was the only area where we had some disagreement on, and you gotta go with people that are supporting 90% of your agenda.
Yeah, but we didn't ask the casino question to all the candidates, so
we didn't either. It wasn't even one of the main core. It was like one of the secondary items, in terms of what was on our list, but was nonetheless kind of just one area of disagreement.
Yeah.
So, we had about 8 hours, 8.5 hours of recording time between these 5 candidates, John. So you and I spent a ton of time with them.
I know.
What are your thoughts and impressions based on that amount of time spent, and what are your thoughts about Sabrina?
Well, the first distinction I want to make, Chuck, is we spent about 90 minutes with each one of them, and nobody got a shorter amount of time or a longer amount of time. It was all kind of, the porridge was all the same.
Sure.
Sabrina spoke extemporaneously. That is, she listened to the question that one of us asked, and she thought about it for a second and gave us an answer. And she didn't bloviate, into left field and center field and right field and foul ball us to death with stuff that had nothing to do with the question. And 2 of the candidates, that's what...
At the very least, yeah. A lot of candidates, a lot of politicians there, it's all about how hard and how fast can you pivot, right? You pivot away from the question.
Listen, Edna and Antoine,
sure,
are exceptionally talented speakers and
communicators. Yes,
they are trained. They are trained to operate under the theory that you don't have to answer the question that was asked. You can answer the question you wished was asked. And that, as an interviewer, is an incredibly frustrating thing, because it forces you to have to say, excuse me, that's off topic. Excuse me, you're not answering the question. Excuse me, we're letting you have as much time as you want, but you're running out into the weeds, and we're not going to be able to get all the important. Anyway, the point is Sabrina was concise.
The person who stops and thinks about it and then answers the question directly is far more valuable than the person who kind of circles the wagons round and round and goes from there, Yeah.
And to conclude the answer to your question, I thought Clinton Young did a decent job compared to the others. I don't think he was as good or even close to Sabrina Kent's answers. And the libertarian guy, honestly, Chuck, I had a hard time understanding everything that he was saying. That's probably my fault. I went back and watched some of his comments the next day. That was more helpful. But, Clinton Young wanted to, in 5 out of 8 questions, he wanted to make a referendum issue out of it.
Yeah, that's kind of,
And not take a position and just say, well, we'll let the people decide that. So anyway.
I just want to put this back up on the screen. I want to start in the middle, John. I think it's quite astounding that Sabrina Kent was the only candidate with an outright pass on the weeping time preservation with the hotel motel tax.
Well, you're going to get some pushback from Edna on that.
I did not hear a commitment to using the leverage that is that 2%.
Yeah.
To save the weeping time. I heard openness to getting it done. And look, if it can be done in the private sector, which is what both Clintons, and especially Clinton Coward, the Libertarian, really wanted to have done, I mean, I'm sure there's nobody better than Mayor Edna Jackson to get that done. But, the question was, given that that's a maybe if the private sector will get it done, will you support mandating it via this 2%? She was the only one that passed it.
Well, listen, Edna gave us the answer that the weeping time is incredibly important and significant in the history of here, our region, our country, and our history. So, but that's kind of what else are you going to say? No, it's not important. You're a black female, first African American.
Of course not. She's not going to say that. But I mean, again,
but that's all
this equivocation is equivocation. We just got the equivocation.
We got the simple, pat, predictable, and correct answer that it's an incredibly significant and important place. We did not get anything from her about why nothing happened during her administration to recognize it or preserve it or to develop plans for it to preserve it. Same thing with Antoine. We got nothing in terms of what should have been done, what could be done.
Yeah.
Just the same sort of pat answer. Yeah, it's a real important place and it needs to be preserved. I'm sorry, that's not good enough an answer if you're going to be a state representative and get my vote. Let me add that.
Yeah, and I'll say, again, a lot of people perceive Mayor Jackson and former elections board member Antoine Lang to be the front runners. I just couldn't get over the fact that there was so much equivocation from both of them on so many of these issues that, it was hard to kind of try and find my way. Antoine had some of the best answers on the statewide issues because of his experience working for, different state reps and state senators over the last decade, since he was in high school. So, I thought that there was some strengths, but the weaknesses were so glaring that I just couldn't find a halfway meeting point with any candidate, and Sabrina was more than halfway,
Well, I think you saw what I'm about to express exemplified most clearly with Antoine. Okay. And let me back up now. If by now, we're almost 2 years into this project, and when you come on this show, you're gonna get policy questions, and some of them are gonna be hard. Okay, I'm sorry. Some are gonna be easier, some are gonna be hard, but we're not gonna let you come on and equivocate and wander and ramble and make nonsense on the show. It either come to play or
come correct. I think as the late great Omar would say, if you're going to come for the king, you best not miss.
Exactly. So a lot of these people, excuse the cat, a lot of these candidates should learn from the series of these 5 interviews 3 people came
Nice.
and gave us a good discussion, and 2 candidates came and gave us tropes and old campaign rhetoric.
Yeah, I'm not going to call out any names, but just talking a little bit about the feedback we received from many of like our members and patrons, who got access to these interviews early. 2 or 3 comments along the same lines were, it was really tough to sit through those 2 interviews between the mayor and Antoine Lang, because they were sidestepping and fighting you guys so much. It was kind of painful. And I jokingly said, well, look, as painful as it is to watch, it wasn't any easier to record it either.
Yeah. Well, just
we do it as respectfully as possible in person, obviously, but you could see in our immediate reaction videos right after, I mean, you could kind of hear the frustration. When we you could see it in some of our reactions to the answers.
Well, we were polite, and I'll tell you something. People don't know, but you and I discussed. A secret admirer sent a text message.
Oh, we won't bust this name out either. But this is a super inside ball game player. Yeah. Not really aligned with our agenda, but is a political player in town. Yeah. All those are an understatement. But
one of the
what was the message, John?
Well, I mean, this fellow is probably the most well-known mercenary in the business of political consulting, and I had not talked with them in 12 years, and out of the blue, I'm 8 o'clock last night, I get a text message that says, hey, we don't always or rarely agree on anything, but I want to say that your interviews are exceptionally well done and professional. So I mentioned that just to illustrate or backstop my prior comment, which is we're here to talk about politics. We're not here to hear old campaign rhetoric or fluff. A little of that is fine, but come on, man, let's talk about the issues and the policies, because that's what will change this town. That's what will change our community. Happy talk does
absolutely
not. Yeah. And
family, being a family and not arguing about where we should go as a city and as a society is not productive.
Yeah, if you want to feel good and get acknowledgement, there's a show on Friday nights for you. Trust me.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You get your name shouted out.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like 2/3 of the show. So, very little policy all show.
What are we doing tonight, Chuck?
We got a lot. I mean, I want to talk a little bit more about the scorecard. We started with the weeping time. I mean, again, just not great that only one candidate really passed that issue. One item I was surprised by was the agenda access. Okay. There was a complete failure by Antoine and Edna to come anywhere close.
Look at the scorecard. The 2 career institutional politicians are going to support the current administration, even though under their administration the rules were different. So that's the problem in this town. Okay, you got a problem. It's undemocratic. It has no history. It was the covert move made overt to control and suppress the revolution of the 2019 election. Let's call it for what it is. Okay?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They want to quiet it down. They want to push the boys back into the taverns and not, have the 1770 revolution.
They tried to go stealth with Gordon Matthews. It didn't work. It had to go public. There was pushback on it. So it became the original sin. The thing that set these 2 parts of council at one another was the mayor's doing from his fear of allowing democracy to work and ideas to be brought to the table like they've always been brought and discussed out in the open. So
I need to make a meme where like
you don't make no
Mitch
meme.
McConnell. No, I need you to make a meme. That's what I meant to say. I need you to make a meme with like Mitch McConnell, like with his hand on the mayor's shoulder, you know, and it's like go forward, my son. You've learned well, you know, a Jedi, a master of the dark side, you know, like, you know, again, it's Mitch McConnellization of Savannah city politics and policy. And I just,
what's the
Antoine and Edna fought us on this. And also, you know, the other two issues I was disappointed on that Clinton Coward fought us on was Medicaid expansion in the weekly time. If he would have been there, I mean, honestly, he would have been a great candidate if he had been on the right side of those two issues. What were you going to say?
I was going to say which Greek or mythical figure carried the lantern and lit the way for the masses. I don't know my Greek or mythology or whatnot. But
it's not Hermes, I guess, right?
I don't know. Let me flip back to what you were saying. And, you know, we're accustomed. You say Clinton Coward got close, and wouldn't it be crazy if we were supporting a guy out of the blue, Libertarian Party? But you know what? If he would have had the best scores, we would have done it, Chuck.
I mean, so okay, this was the next thing I wanted to talk about. Okay, was this idea of how come you don't factor in electability? All right, so electability should be like the third, fourth level of comparison, right? Like, what are your principles? If you've been watching the show for a long time, you know what this organization's principles are. You can see it on the scorecard, right? So if they had had a similar score, then you start to talk about those secondary things like electability. You know, this is a special election, you know?
Well, Chuck, I point to our history. Did we not support Keisha over the institutionalist and all-powerful and very well contributed to Carol Bell?
Carol Bell, absolutely.
Of course we did. Did we not support Dietrich Leggett against the Professor Bill Durham?
I saw you got called out about that earlier today, by the way.
Did you see that?
I saw that message, that comment on that thread. They go, is it true you actively worked to run him off?
Yeah, sure.
Yes, Councilman. Yes, Councilman. It is true. Go look at his entire 4-year record.
Well, Chuck, that wasn't my answer.
I know, but I mean, that's my answer.
Yeah, I was polite. I said, yes, it's true. I did not vote for Bill Durham to have a second term. I mean, that's pretty nice.
I mean, you didn't really answer the accusation either, but it's all good. I mean, yes, we actively worked to get rid of Bill because he deserved it. Bill Durham voted for $300 million in bond spending. Okay, along with Eddie DeLoach and the mayor, all for tourism interests.
Did we not support Linda Bryant over John? Let's make a deal, Hall.
Hey, baby, let's make a deal. Thunderbolt's finest.
Now, forget the fact that they've all done 180s or 140s or 120s or whatever.
Yeah, they've shifted away from the agenda that got them elected. That's for sure.
I'm talking about Better Savannah.
Yeah,
as an advocacy place to pick up policy and embed it in campaigns, as we did with the aforementioned candidates. Now, the fact that they've absolutely failed to produce term limits, impact fees, pilot fees, that's on them. Okay, we did our part, and it is what it is.
It's like that scene in The Irishman. It is what it is, you know. Like you guys have taken this stand, we got to react. You know, it's always going to be that way. I mean, you know, if all of a sudden every politician started running on the idea of making it hard for longshoremen to unionize on the docks. I mean, I'm pretty sure there'd be a strong and swift reaction. You know,
Look at
we're not as strong as them, but we are as swift. Go ahead.
When you campaign as a new candidate and you make commitments, when you go to neighborhood meetings, when you go to churches, when you go, along the parade route, and you say, I'm for these things, term limits, impact fees, et cetera, you are making a bond with the voter.
That's right.
And if you deliver on that bond, you will retain that voter. Okay? If you do not deliver on your commitments and your promises, you may not be returned. So, life has consequences, and so do elections, and everybody's got a track record. So we're not all that far away from the next city elections, but they're still
getting closer. It's getting closer. Let's remind everybody, the calendar is special election November, Tybee, Port Wentworth, Splost, runoff in December. Qualifying for primaries is in March, 90 days later. The primaries are in May. Runoffs are in July. The general election for governor statewide and Raphael Warnock's Senate seat and the congressional seats are next November. And that's 1 year away from city elections right there. Yep. So we are coming to the point where we are going to be less than 24 months away from city elections. I told you the other day, I'm looking to get some open records information out of the MPC to see where they are at in their redistricting process. I'm told that the county is much further along than the city is. And I'd like to know, how transparent that process is going to be.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So let me pull this back up, this scorecard up one more time. I just want to check one more thing here. We did not get to ask about SCAD with the top, two candidates on the left. I thought it was interesting. The other three candidates were all in favor,
Yep.
A libertarian. But see, Clinton Cowart was a lifelong Savannian. So I think there's that, historical experience built in. Only Edna really equivocated on whether she'd fully support affordable, housing as a new impact fee bucket. You could just see the failures are on the left side of the scorecard with these issues, and these are considered to be the more institutional candidates, right?
Yeah.
I think Clinton Young was probably all in all the second best, and then Clinton Cowart, but that Medicaid expansion opposition is really quite something.
Yeah. Well, the way you set up, I think you handled the SCAD pilot fees question more than I did in terms of launching it. And you, of course, included the preface of your law of diminishing return lecture.
Yes.
And I think that's what Cowart originally probably would have said a different answer. But once the prologue of diminishing returns was set on the table, he said, you know what, I think you're right. They don't need the advantages that they did 10 years ago or 15 or 20 or 30 years ago. You're right. So I think that's why. It's hard to argue with that, Chuck. It's the same thing with the port. Did it make sense?
You're segueing perfectly. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. Did it make sense in the 1990s early to drop the $1.50 container fee and jumpstart the port? Sure.
Maybe, yeah.
Did it make sense, 5-10 years later? Yeah, sure. But now we're doubling the size of the fucking friggin' port, and we still get bupkis from them. So Good luck, Garden City and Port Wentworth, with all the congestion and noise and accidents and extra services you're going to have to pony up for that
Right.
extension.
Well, again, like it strikes me that the two kind of most insider candidates, they didn't really want to challenge the status quo on very much at all. But here you have a woman, a strong backboned woman, who is the payroll clerk for ILA 1414. And this, just give us a little second here. I want to watch. This is the one long clip I wanted to watch here. This is Sabrina Kent talking about ports and containers during our interview, and I'll put a link to the full show in the description.
Correct that the ILA members are being paid by Georgia Port Authority.
No,
that's not right.
They get paid by the shipping companies, John.
Right, exactly.
Okay, and the hall negotiates the rates wholesale.
Their contract. They have various contracts
yes.
that they work on. Yeah.
Ports America is the #1 client there.
Yes.
Okay, so they may be paid a different rate from different shipping lines than another shipping line because of the contract that they've negotiated.
Right. It depends on how and when they negotiate contracts, and that depends on the leadership. So that's something that we don't know until that happens.
Okay, so
how that works.
If the legislature were to pass, let's say a $10 per can fee.
Okay.
That fee would be paid by the shipping company as part of their business transaction with the Port of Savannah.
Right.
And they would pass that along to their client, which means the widget that you and I go and buy is 25 cents more.
Okay.
Correct. Very good, Chuck.
I'm just trying to establish that this does not pose any eminent economic hardship on the ILA members.
We wouldn't let that happen.
I think here's what I think the answer
happen.
to your question is. And Sabrina, I want you to confirm this for me. I think that the answer to your question lies in the dollar figure compared to the market. Okay.
Right.
Long Beach, California is $48 a container. Okay. And that's the busiest port in the world. Okay. So I don't know if $10 is the right number. But I do know that 0 is the wrong number. So
right. We got to have something coming through back to us.
Okay. So we would agree that the number itself can be debated on what economic impact that might have on 1414. I think $10 gets close to that. I think certainly above $20 a container, I think that's probably a negative net effect, in my opinion. But to me, the $0 is such a negative status quo. I mean, even $2.50 a can.
Would even benefit, as long as it's going to benefit the city. We got to negotiate something that's going to benefit and come back to Chatham County.
So, John, there you see, just a person, a leader. This would be like me advocating to end the mortgage interest tax deduction. Like something that would be beneficial to all but hurtful to my own industry. Depending on how you look at it. That's a courageous politician. That's somebody who has first principles, who can use those first principles to have principled negotiation, right? And that's how you produce results. When you don't have a good set of first principles, you become a windsock. Is kind of how I would describe a lot of the more establishment politicians. They kind of blow with the prevailing breeze.
Yeah, they kind of tell you they're going to change the charter one way 6 months ago, and then 6 months later they go, "Oh no, I can't get involved in that."
Yeah, you know who you are.
Yeah.
So, guys, I want to just take this opportunity to say, we could use all the help we could get. Let me get our banner going here.
Yeah, we
go to www.bettersavannah.org and give us a donation so we can help
Sabrina
get across the finish line here. Donate at the link below. Every dollar of help, we're going to try and get as much as we can, in personally, but, obviously we need your support to help get a progressive, strong woman like Sabrina Kent into the delegation. We have not had a woman since 2009, since Regina Thomas, Senator Thomas, which I think there'll be some news, there pretty soon as well, I hope.
Yeah, and people need to understand, Chuck, that you and I do what we do out of our love for policy and bettering outcomes, hence better
Absolutely.
Savannah. We don't get paid. There's no salary here. There's no paid staff. There's no luxury, 40th floor office. We're doing this because we think the community needs what we're doing. And if you agree with that, I'm sounding like a GPTV.
That's right. This is your subscription, your members drive time.
Exactly.
What we need to do is we need to record a membership drive pitch so we can just click it and play it during the middle. We really should just get that done.
Maybe because make it funny. I don't know.
Oh yeah, we should totally come up with some bits, to kind of make it worthwhile. But look, guys, $10, $20, $40 go a long way when you can reach people on social media for 10, 15 cents a pop.
Yeah,
it's not hard. So, please consider supporting Alay Boyantine. Yes, you're endorsing a candidate. We're endorsing Sabrina Kent. If you haven't seen it yet, we rolled it out just a couple of hours ago here. Let me get the photo above. Bam. Yes, Better Savannah endorses Sabrina Green Kent for Georgia House District 165. So that's that. Any other comments about it? I know.
Chuck,
Go ahead.
For $50 at 6 cents a reach, how many people can we send Sabrina's message to? I have a calculator right here.
Like 750 people, 800 people.
Yeah, I mean, I want people to understand that we can send a powerful message that's factual and researched to the right people in her district, the 165th, that are likely to vote for 6 cents. So just do it. Just go to bettersavannah.org. On the menu, there's a donate menu item. Click on that, and there you go. 5, 10.
And let's talk about some numbers. There's going to be around 10,000 votes cast in this election. We're talking about 28, 29, maybe 3,000 votes will get you into that runoff. It's an uphill battle, but it's not impossible, guys. With your support, we could push a candidate that is really about local issues, really on the right side of all the issues that if you follow this show, you care about. You care that of these 6 questions, these 6 issues, Sabrina Green Kent is right on all of these issues, and not just passively right, actively right, thoughtfully right, prepared to put in some work on being right. And so I think that is the bottom line on why, again, we're asking for your help to get her elected.
Yeah, and to add some dimension to this, a couple of the other key name candidates, we haven't seen their reports, but they're probably going to raise what, Chuck, $50,000-$60,000?
Maybe.
Yeah.
John, here's the thing about a special election like this. The money almost doesn't matter as much. It's such a short window, Yeah. I would take 20 volunteers knocking doors every day for the next 45 days until election day, 30 days or whatever it is.
Yeah.
29 days. I would take that many people knocking doors on volunteer basis the next 28 days than 38 grand in paid media.
Well, we don't have ground forces, Chuck. We are social media influencers, and we're pretty good at it. And for every dollar you send us, we can
reach about 20 people.
A whole block.
You know?
A whole block.
Yes.
For a dollar.
Right. And we're gonna make sure that this electorate sees the messaging that shows, who's on their side. Sabrina Kent is the candidate who's on their side.
Yep. What else?
So, it's a regular weekly show after 8-9 hours of interviews.
Yeah.
So, it was exhausting.
Yeah, those interviews
take a lot out of you, man. I tell you.
Triple time to
gotta take a nap.
You did a great job getting those formal invitations out and scheduling, oftentimes with their seconds, sometimes directly with them, and then having to accommodate changes in their schedule. I mean, it was a lot of work.
Yeah. And again, I just want to make it clear to everybody. I could find a nice thing or 5 to say about each of them.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I don't dislike any of these people. They're all pretty interesting people. They all bring something to the table, in terms of their candidacy. But again, this organization and this endorsement's got to be about these issues that we've been advocating for so long, So I just, again, we really want to make a play for this and see, how much of this kind of eastern half of the city, which is very diverse, very democratic, it's about a 70% Democrat district. And
have you pulled out the neighborhoods so that people?
Let me pull up your post here, John.
Well, let's name them, because a lot of people watching this might not even realize that they're in the 165th, and their vote is going to be one of the key votes.
Yeah, let me call out District 165 runs along the eastern edge of Savannah from President Street to the north to unincorporated Chatham County Burnside Island, Windsor Forest to the south. It includes many neighborhoods such as Avondale, Victory Heights, some parts of downtown, Fernwood, Forest Hills, Magnolia Park, Terrace Heights, Bacon Park, Paradise Park, Windsor Forest, and Sandfly, which is also unincorporated Chatham County. So if you know anybody in these areas, you want to make sure that Twickenham, Jenny says Twickenham, that's another one.
Absolutely.
You want to make sure that we get these people to vote. I saw George Seaborough was quoted in the paper. Of course, they would go to him about this race.
What did he say?
Oh, we need a candidate who's, can get some stuff done, and just kind of typical Savannah Morning News type of sound bites.
All the candidates with experience are unlikely to get anything done, and all the candidates that will get something done aren't,
or will at least try.
Will at least try, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy.
Look, changing the charter for agenda access, that's not that hard of an ask.
No.
Horse trade, especially when you're pro casino gambling and the chairman of your delegation is the author of that bill. You telling me you can't horse trade around and get some stuff done?
Yeah.
I don't believe that. It's not how politics works. Watch.
Are our expectations just too high, Chuck?
I do think we have some unfair expectations, but I would say we're not pie in the sky. We're tough. This is a tough agenda to want to be the political leader for.
Yeah. So the agenda access thing, instead of making it like it's kind of always been, as anybody kind of could get something on by asking, you're saying if it got changed to 3 people, that would still be a win.
Yes.
But it would be a compromise.
We're willing to do that.
Yeah. Well, why aren't the other side of council that voted for this 5 rule cognizant enough to realize that this cause...
Because they have the power right now. The power is vested in the 5 members of council that maintain a majority together, right? You know, that power is near absolute when it comes to governing.
What are they afraid of?
Oh, they're afraid of taking tough votes, you know, because, all right, if their constituents see them voting against issues that either A, they ran on, or B, they know are popular, and they vote against it, that's a loss with the voters. If they support these issues, well, you know, those nice, you know, dinners and money to go buy Happy Meals in the district and support for various nonprofits, a lot of that's going to dry up from the moneyed interests.
Yeah. All right. So it's almost a self-protection.
And people wonder why we are prepared to fight against any incumbent anywhere. It's because, look, those powers that be, John, those moneyed interests, they are providing a scenario where it's untenable to cross them, right?
Yeah.
Right? You know, we're just simply doing the same thing they are. I would argue that what we're doing is so far more transparent than what those moneyed powered interests. All of their stuff in negotiation is behind closed doors. It's in the Chatham Club and the Gun Club, right? You know, we're out here in the open recording shows for everybody and letting everybody know where our issues are. This is where we're standing.
Yeah.
Do you want to try and compromise with our position, or do you want to fight it? Because if you fight it, we got no choice but not to support you and support your opponent. Now I know that those moneyed interests are telling you the same thing, right? And these politicians are going to have to choose who's going to reach more voters. The money that they can give me, am I talented enough? Do I have a political operation enough, powerful enough to take that money and, you know, use it wisely enough to get reelected? Van Johnson does. Well, I just told you the other day, Mayor Van Johnson's raised $30,000 this year in 2021. This guy's getting ready to run for reelection.
Yeah.
You know,
well, okay.
The rest of them, though, I don't know. I know the mayor has a chance to survive. He's talented. He's a great communicator.
Well, he's going to have to drag the rest of them across the line.
I know you listen, Van. You're gonna have to show some progress on some issues, man. The affordable housing plan, or impact fees, or term limits. I mean, you know, if you guys don't get us something, it's gonna just be nothing. You're just asking to be attacked.
Your crew campaigned on these things.
Right. And while you might survive, I can't say the same for the rest of them. Also, again, we know that the maps are going to be much different, probably. Yes, Jenny, it's very true. I know. We're just doing the same thing they're doing. We just do it a little bit more transparently, a little bit better, I suspect.
Well, we got a few haters. I mean, let's face it.
I told you, I'm waiting for somebody to make a crack at us for titling the show "A Woman in the House."
No, I was talking about bitter Savannah.
Oh, of course, yeah. You know. Again, like, you should tell. Let's say a message to those older people. I know exactly what you're talking about. When you tell people that it's called bitter Savannah, tell them why we're bitter. We're bitter because you told us and everybody else that you were running on this agenda. And now you've abandoned it.
Forgotten it.
Who wouldn't be bitter about that?
Yeah.
So just something interesting. John, you got a surprise for everybody here.
Well, I do. You got the video?
I got it. I got it queued up, baby. It's time for another edition of Pump or Dump It. John! I know you love that piece. I had to play it.
I do. I love looking at my own work, man.
Who doesn't?
All right.
Pump it or dump it. What's your first one, John?
Pump it or dump it. Chuck, since property tax bills are out, received, and have to be paid in November, a Better Savannah member suggested we start by printing 1,000 yard signs, or 100, saying, SCAD, Pay your fair share. Pump it or dump it.
Pump it. How much is it? I got a couple $100 towards that. Let's do it. No, yeah, pump it. Yeah, you know what that makes me think of? You know what that makes me think of is the Fire Hernandez repeal the fire tax signs. Pastor Leonard Small. I hope you're out there, watching. That campaign probably cost him his job in terms of him leaving. So we need, what we need some strategic locations. If anyone lives directly across the street from the mayor in Cloverdale, Melinda Gwynn Thornton, I'm thinking about you over there. Anybody that lives in Ardsley Park near Alderman Palumbo, anybody that lives in Coffee Bluff near Alderman Purdy, we will get you these signs. Matter of fact, if you have a property very close to them, I will bring you the sign for free. How about that?
Yep.
What's the next one, John? Let me get the video back up.
Chuck, working easterly, city work crews and contractors have reached Whitaker Street with the Broughton streetscape.
It's so funny that you have this on here. You notice I played the ad at the top of the show?
Yeah, I did.
I know. And I was just because I was walking around there the other day, and it just. All right.
So look that's 2 blocks that they finished in 18 months, with 1 block currently under construction.
Right.
At this rate, the project will be completed in 2025 or 26. Should we bring this up in the next city election cycle? Pump it or dump it?
Yes. Oh, pump that idea. 100%. Pump that idea. Not only should we pump that, I said this before and I'll say it again. Mayor Van Johnson and This Is Trash Garbage Connect Savannah have to do a block party for every single block as they get done. And even if you lose the election, you still have to come do it, Mayor Johnson.
Yeah.
What's the next one, John? Hang on one second here. Let me get back to the music.
Bam. The East Bluff election is just a few weeks away on November 2nd.
Yes.
There's been zero discussion on why voters should renew it. No pleas, no fear-mongering, nothing from the Chamber of Commerce or the school system. A 5-year East Bluff renewal. Pump it or dump it, Chuck?
I'm dumping it. I'm voting against it. The school board, no one on the school board can give me a good explanation as to how many other school systems our size or larger are led by a superintendent who is a product of that school system. Nobody can answer that question for me, not academically at least. The fact that we could not get an online school for the beginning of this school year while COVID was kind of raging a couple of months back, like a month and a half ago, John.
Yeah.
I thought that's a poor. What do we spend all that money on all those laptops for if you couldn't activate it again? Even if you were going to walk away from it a month or two later as the caseload dropped, the bus driver situation.
That was my next.
You want us to give you guys another $400-500 million or however much money it is?
Yeah, it's about that.
And you can't even keep a fully staffed bus system?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I don't think they've earned it. I really don't. And I think
SPLOST is kind of like a reward, and they've not earned it this time. I know a couple members on the school board personally. I'd be happy to have you guys on. You want to come talk about it?
Yeah.
David Bringman, 6th District, talking to you. Dr. Tommy Howard Hall, 8th District, talking to you. If you guys want to chat about it, happy to have you on. But me personally, I'm going to vote against it. And I'm going to tell other people to vote against it.
How about Michael Johnson?
Michael's welcome to come on too.
Yeah.
Audits. We don't have any audits at the school board. I mean,
Yeah.
You know how we feel about audits, John.
Do we have?
Thanks, Rebecca, for that note.
Do we have community benefit agreements attached to any of the SPLOST projects?
I can't imagine we do. I mean, we don't even have like local requirements on enough. They do score it that way, but
poor Bernetta, man.
They could actually require a certain number of the jobs to be local at the subcontractor level, which is exactly what Bernetta Lanier's trying to do in the city.
Yeah, but she's hasn't been able to get the support to formalize and codify in an ordinance a community benefits policy. Okay.
Not in the majority. She's in the 4, not the 5.
I understand.
This is what I want these members of the 5.5 on council to admit. I want them to admit to their voters, well, look, if you don't go along to get along with the majority, you don't get to get anything done. Right? Go ahead and say that. I want you to sell that for another term, because I don't think your voters are going to buy it.
You know what? I want to shake them and say, this is not a popularity contest. This is a job.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do it like a job.
The job is not to get reelected. The job is to do the work.
Yeah. And then to get reelected.
And then get reelected down the road. Okay. You know.
Right. What one observation before we go on the SPLOST thing. I want all our viewers, listeners to understand, if we reject and do not renew the SPLOST, the law says all they have to do is wait 12 months and put it back up for another vote. So this is your opportunity.
But that's after re-election time, John.
Well,
you know.
Some people have said, Chuck, that if East SPLOST crashes and burns, so will most of the school board.
In terms of anybody running for re-election, I would think that it would be tremendously hard to get reelected having lost that vote, because that vote would be a rejection of status quo in the school board, right? Yeah. And so, like, how do incumbents win when the county just threw out, the referendum?
I'm just saying it's a semi-reasonable strategy to say, let's, for the first time since East SPLOST has been put up for a vote, let's deny it for 1 year and send a message that, hey, you guys got to do better. You got to do better with community benefit agreements. You got to do better with your bus drivers. You got to do better with your administration of bifurcating in-class at-home learning. You just haven't earned this renewal, guys. So go in the penalty box for 1 year. Do your remedial work, and we'll vote on it again. So,
absolutely. Could not agree with that sentiment more. I'll just leave this there. Some of our best political talent in the county is on the school board, in terms, especially age wise, I really, if you guys are going to run for higher office, you need to step it up. What's the next one? What were you going to say? Go ahead.
Is Kenny Adams on the school board?
No, he's on the county commission, 8th District County Commission.
You sure?
Yeah, Tanya Howard Hall has the 8th District Board of Education seat.
How do you know he's on the commission?
Because we did a debate with him and Gary.
I know, but since he's gotten office...
I'm sorry, that one took me a while to catch up to. Oh, man. Kenny Adams, missing persons report. Man, that was funny, man. What's the next one, John?
Chuck, city employees were offered $500 to get fully vaccinated. Only 142 employees have been vaccinated since the incentive program began last month. That's 6.7% of the workforce. Not exactly a huge success so far, but pump it or dump it.
I think it's a higher percentage of those who are left unvaccinated. I think that's a higher percentage than of the total workforce. Kind of in the middle on this one. Overall, I dump it. It's a PR bullshit. It looks good. on the press conference. You know, you get to line up with the president of the school board and the head of the CAT board and Chairman Ellis at the county, and we'll all hold hands and just always reminds me of this.
I don't have friends. I got family.
Family. Family.
Family.
Family.
Family.
Family. Family.
Family.
Family.
Family.
All right.
Where's the 500 coming from, Jenny? I mean, it's coming from your property taxes that the renters are paying on non-Stevens Day property. I mean, it's coming from the $55 million in federal ARPA money from the Biden administration that's getting doled out over 2 payments. One that they got a month or 3 months ago, and another one in the new year. So, yeah, the money is coming from you, the taxpayer.
Yeah. All right, man.
I don't know, man.
Do the music.
One more? All right.
Chuck, my last question.
Last pump it or dump it.
Yep. Here's an idea, Chuck. Should Better Savannah invite Willie Lovett as a guest on the show?
Ooh, I didn't know you were going to ask me this. Oh, man. All right, so we discussed this earlier. 100%.
Pump it.
Pump it. I would love to speak with Chief Lovett. I'd love to talk to Kevin Grogan about it, get some more insight from him. He was, I think it's episode 47, how to save a police department's life.
Yep.
Which
is still 75 officers short.
It's probably more than that. Some comments saying I don't think he would do it. I don't know.
Well, you got Ron Fernandez's new location. Maybe he'd like to.
I'm sure he remembers our faces from those town hall meetings, John.
Well, it's Chuck. Everything with us is a love-hate relationship, buddy. Haven't you figured that out?
Well, I mean, they hate us while they're in the frying pan, but nobody told you to jump in the kitchen.
Yeah.
If you can't take the heat, get out.
Yeah.
The resignation is always an option.
What do we got coming up next week?
We got a special episode next week. We kind of have like a 3-pronged election strategy this year, John. We have limited resources, limited time, limited effort. Obviously, we can't do it all, guys. Unless you'd all like to get on bettersavannah.org and donate lots and lots of monies. We got to pick and choose these battles,
Yep.
So, starting out in the far east island of Tybee Island, we've got this kind of tourism-focused STVR regulation,
Monster,
Mac kitchens,
drama.
You got the let's see here, where is it? Damn.
My opinion, Tybee hasn't managed growth very well. We still have a chance at bringing back our community.
So, we got Matt Kitchens responding for Tybee City Council. I think we're going to come up with another endorsement now that we know people can vote for 3 candidates, John.
Yep.
For elect Elaine.
Yeah.
Let's get Elaine Magruder on there as well.
She was a great guest.
She's a great guest.
Very sharp.
Super, super, super smart. Very experienced. Would be a great combination with Matt Kitchens on that council.
Agreed.
So we got that in the far east. In the heart of Savannah, on the east side, we've got this House District 165 election. So we spent a long time to go through those candidates for you guys. Again, if you were a member patroness of Better Savannah, you got early access to those interviews before the public did. We rolled those out, gave them, some time to marinate with the public. Got feedback from our membership, and we're, rolling with Sabrina Kent, obviously, to make sure that we can get, a good candidate in that race. Port Wentworth is one of the fastest growing cities in the state of Georgia.
Yeah.
Okay. And it abuts Savannah. It's a neighbor of Savannah in several different locations in the county. You know what I mean by that, right, John?
Sure.
Right? Like, if you're going up 21, it's a neighbor. If you're coming around the backside of Pooler and Savannah Highlands inside the city limits over there, they're a neighbor. They are one of Savannah's fastest growing neighbors, Pooler. I mean, this entire metro region is growing very fast. All of you know that. Richmond Hill, Rincon, Pooler, Port Wentworth. So District 1 is an open seat for the city council. It's the only open seat. I think every other one has an incumbent in it. So we're going to have a forum for the District 1 Port Wentworth City Council.
Both candidates.
Both candidates next Tuesday, okay, at 6:30. We're going to go live. All right. That's Tuesday the 12th.
Not Thursday, Tuesday.
Not Thursday. All right. Maybe we'll have a reason to do another show next Thursday. Maybe not. I don't know. It just really depends on what happens at City Council. I think next week is the early meeting, so I think maybe we'll want to hop on and talk about something if they have something crazy. Otherwise, I may just rebroadcast that forum on Thursday. Okay. But I want to have this kind of the future Port Wentworth forum because I think the two candidates are fascinating, John. The two candidates in this race for City Council of Port Wentworth are Gabrielle Nelson and Alfonso Rabeau. All right. Gabrielle is a 10, 15, 18-year employee at the county. So a lot of government experience. She's endorsed by the Central Labor Council.
No.
Okay. And then on the other hand, you got Alfonso Rabeau, who is the head of this Hispanic Chamber, or was until recently the head of the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and works very closely with the main Chamber of Commerce. So it's this kind of labor versus chamber kind of classic battle. And I want to see which one is good because, well, see, that's the thing, I think their philosophies are relatively unknown. I don't really have a relationship with Gabrielle. I don't know her. I've heard of her. I know that, she's related to Julius, who we know, the founder of ATR Media Network, friend of the committee, friend of the show. But Alfonso is definitely a smart guy. He ran the census for this region. Well,
we're gonna have.
I'm interested to see, who comes off as understanding the future of that area a little bit better, and also where they fit in, because their issues are not the exact same as Savannah's, Port Wentworth, but there's a lot of similarities. The impact fee thing in Port Wentworth is as much about warehouses as it is about single-family development.
Do they have an impact fee ordinance?
No.
You're kidding.
No.
Fastest growing town?
No. Neither does Pooler. And Pooler just raised their taxes.
Unbelievable.
Not even raising them by not rolling it back. No, John, Pooler not only didn't roll back the millage rate and raised it via the digest, they raised the millage rate itself. So they double taxed their citizens this year.
Man.
I mean, it's not good, bro, out there in these fast-growing areas. And a lot of these people who bought houses, I worry that they bought houses because they were affordable and the quality of life was decent, and now the quality of life is going to suffer. And that makes the price of the house not as much worth it.
Any government that has growth like that has a difficult choice. If they don't collect impact fees to keep pace with the demands of that new growth, government has to either reduce services or increase their millage rate. So you're telling me that
I know it's a ways away, but the next time special purpose local option sales tax SPLOST comes up, I mean, we're going to have to mount a huge campaign against it.
Absolutely.
Unless they get a serious citywide impact fee policy.
No SPLOST without an impact fee ordinance, because the money generated from the impact fee will free up millions of dollars in the SPLOST funds to go for stuff like affordable housing, which impact fees right now cannot go for. So It's just smart government, smart business, fair policy to impose an impact fee and let the people who want to migrate and move here pay their fair share. So,
another thing that's on my mind before we go, John.
What's that?
Is that, this is so hard, picking and choosing candidates amongst those that are there. I mean, you go to war with the army you have, not the army you want. And
thank you, Don Rumsfeld.
I've been thinking, all right, rest in peace. I've been thinking more and more about an Article 9 referendum drive, John. It's just, I feel like we can't get enough of these candidates. And the ones that, we need more talented candidates in these pools, especially for next year. I'm thinking of 2022.
And some candidates that don't flip-flop.
Right. And I'm thinking, John, maybe after the primaries, we should just scoop up whatever political talent on the operations side there is and just go balls to wall on a referendum drive to get the rules ordinance changed from 5 to 2 or 5 to 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. And John, if we did that over the summer, then
I'll be in California.
Oh yeah. Well, I guess we should do it in the spring and then hope to get Judge Bordeaux to put it on the fall ballot.
Yeah.
But
I'm with you. Maybe we have to show the people the third rail, because once that genie gets out of the bottle,
the reason I bring this up is there's a massive disconnect between public sentiment and public policy, right? John, the public sentiment is that SCAD should pay its fair share, that impact fees, the developers should pay their fair share. The port should pay their fair share. The tourism industry should be managed appropriately.
Higher wages.
It should be paying higher wages. We should have term limits for every elected official, right? These are things that the public are largely 60, 70, 80% behind.
Right, they're majorities. Strong.
And yet we can't get the elected officials to act on them. A lot, you can say it's gerrymandering and all this other bullshit.
Oh, they got
man, look at Jenny. This is funny. The arena will pay for itself. That's fucking hilarious right there.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I'm continually in a love-hate relationship with this place because it's got so much potential, but it's frustrating to the point of sickening oneself in terms of what's available to work with.
Chuck, it's our next foundational premise, and our current one is, after 30 years of rampant expansion and prosperity, why do we still have 26, 7, 8% poverty? Well, the new one is going to be, after 2 decades of public opinion, that SCAD should pay something and the ports should be helping the community and not just extracting. And why don't we have term limits? Look to your elected officials. Look to your state delegation. I mean, that's the disconnect. They're the ones, not us, not pundits behind a screen with a show. No, it's not us. We can start conversations. We can embed ideas. We can focus some thinking, but they're the ones that have to vote. And if they don't vote the way we want them to vote, and they should vote, and the way the majority of people want them to vote, then, I hope Jenny's finding candidates for us in her district.
Start recruiting.
Jenny,
early and often, or else I'm going to have to make John run. Good luck with that.
Only if Leonard Small runs. That's my commitment.
I think we need a dream team of Pastor Smalls, Jeff Reno, and John McMasters.
Yeah, the Geritol for lunch bunch.
There you go. One more thing here before we go is that one of our members, kind of the voice of one of our outro ads, the sweet voice you hear on one of the outro ads asking you to support, has offered a generous contribution. Because I understand there's a lot of activists in Savannah who, are working and have limited income. And so if you are one of our regular followers on Facebook or Twitter or YouTube or whatever, you want to get a membership that's being offered by one of our current members, reach out to us. Send us a message. We'll put your name on the list with our sweet fairy godmother, who is going to make a generous donation, to just increase our membership. So if you want to get a taste of our membership, get some extra content, early access to all of our content, reach out to us, send us a message, and we'll get you in the Facebook group.
As a gift from a benefactor of the show.
That's right. A member, somebody who appreciates what we're doing and,
wants to help.
Absolutely. So we got Back Mac, we got Electy Lane, and
we got a discovery show.
Send Sabrina. I like that alliteration. Send Sabrina.
Yeah, okay.
Because they got to go to Atlanta, right? So we got Back Mac, Elect Lane, Send Sabrina, and maybe we'll have one more after this forum next week. And vote no on East Blast. If you want more content, that's made by independent creators locally here in Savannah about what's going on, there's a good lineup of shows. Mondays, Alderman Keisha Carter does a public access show on the ATR network by Julius Hall's network there. We mentioned him earlier. Tuesdays on her Facebook page, Alicia Miller Blakely, Alderwoman Blakely, For Us, By Us.
Yes, absolutely.
Great show. Wednesdays, The Rabble, the best show of the week on ATR, in my opinion.
Yep.
Lots of other good stuff. Saturdays, Pastor Leonard Smalls tells it like it is. Friday nights, Chairman Jimmy J. Jones tells it like it is as well
He's doing some good work
on ATR. It's a tough time slot, but he's definitely doing the work on it. So, again, we really
Jim Marikis,
Rachel Flora, Sean Kelly just had a baby. Congratulations. So congratulations to him. It's a really great piece about Stats Fest in there this last week. With the passing of Jason Stats.
Yeah.
And, always great coverage from these independent sites. Savannah Morning News has a new executive editor, John.
Yeah. And we're going to be fair and unbiased and take it as it comes and thoughtfully so. And
you're welcome to come on our show anytime.
Absolutely.
If you'd like to discuss our coverage of the bad writing at your paper, you're welcome to come discuss it. It is. I'm not saying it's not a personal attack. It's not a personal attack against her. If you, as the new executive editor, would like to discuss our valid criticisms, somebody once called it a cheap shot, and I said, no, it's a well-priced shot.
Yeah.
It's priced exactly right, actually. If you'd like to discuss it and push back at all, you're welcome to. Same thing with you, Adam Van Brimmer, Bill Dawes, Michael Owens, Marinelli, all you guys who hold up the status quo. You want to come step into the arena, you're welcome to.
Yeah. We need a little oxygen, so show up.
Hey, man, I got that fire, baby. So, all right, guys, it's another great show. Train wrecks. Go see the train wrecks.
All right.
Tybee Island Post Theater, probably next time.
Always.
Whenever they're there. Great band. That's our theme song. So I'm gonna roll us on out, John. I appreciate everything, man. I'll talk to you guys.
Me too. Thanks, John.
Next week. See you next Tuesday for Port Wentworth, the future of Port Wentworth.
Don't you think it's time for the city of Savannah to have an honest tourism management plan? Let SCAB start paying its fair share? And the hospitality industry needs to increase its wages? The impacts of new growth should not cost residents. All local elected officials on council and commission should have term limits. We're working hard to accomplish these policies, We need your help. Please contribute whatever you can, $5, $10, or $20, by going to bettersavannah.org. Donate. Thank you.
That 5 is too high. I think that 5 is, if personally, if I had to put my opinion out there, I would say 5 is to deter you from coming at me with anything anyways.
That's
Tabby is definitely worth saving.